The following program contains violence, disturbing imagery, nudity, and, oh my God, why are you even watching this? Just run away. This shit is going to give you nightmares.
Situations will arise in our lives, but you gotta be smart about it. Celebrations with the guys I sacrificed, cause I knew you could not sleep without it. Meanwhile, I love you, you were my girl. You see, I thought the world of you, but you're so stingy, baby. Should've been more smart about it. Should've cherished me, listening to friends. Now it's the end, and again, no start reckoning without it. Damn, I love you, you were my girl. See, I thought the world of you, but you're so stingy, baby. It's okay, girl. I'ma be alright tonight.
Recorded live at the Jerrad Show studios in Tampa, Florida. It's another episode of the Jerrad Show. And now, here's your host, Jerrad Suarez.
That's right, I'm back again for another one. It's Another episode of the Jerrad Show. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jerrad Show. Can't tell you how much that means to me that you're here for another one. Tonight on the show, it's Monday, November 13th, 2017. Or should I say, in the year of our Lord 2017. No, I should never say that, actually. Should never say that ever again. That would be okay. Last night was Walking Dead, and you know I'm going to get into it. So if you didn't listen to or if you didn't watch last night's episode, go ahead and pause this right now. Get on that TV app. Get on the AMC app and watch the latest episode of The Walking Dead, because I'm going to be bitching about this fucking show again. God damn it. This is one of the few shows that I hate to watch, but I still watch it because, like I've said so many times before, I'm invested in this show. I've spent 7 seasons watching this show, and from what I heard tonight, or what I found out tonight, actually, the show is ridiculously fucking slow. It is an hour-long show. There's been 4 hours of content. Not really. It's not full 4 hours, because it's more like 40 minutes when you add in all those fucking commercial breaks. The show is so fucking slow that they have had 4 episodes now. And I'm going to look this up right now just to see if what I heard was actually correct. Walking Dead time spent in season 8. Because what I heard earlier is that, okay, I'm not finding anything on it, but I heard earlier that The Walking Dead is 4 episodes in, and they've only moved for an hour and a half in the actual story. The time that has taken place in the story has only been 1.5 hours, and we have 4 fucking episodes. That's just to let you know how slow this fucking show is moving. It's literally the crawling dead now. It's the shimmying on the floor on your ass dead. It's not walking at all. It's not even you cannot call it a walking speed. Fucking 4 episodes? An hour and a half? Really? Seriously? And where the fuck is Negan? 4 episodes. Where the fuck is he? Okay, they know that he's obviously the best part of the show. Forgive me, I'm still getting over this sickness. They know that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is probably the best part about this show, because even Daryl this season is boring as shit, and he's badass, and he'll shoot somebody in the head, no problem, no questions asked. Fuck that shit, man. I need some character. I need some character development. Like last season for Daryl, the season was slow as shit still, but I did like where they, took that whole episode out and they showed him being tortured by the Saviors last season. That was a great performance by Norman Reedus. He was crying and broken, and he was, it was tough. That picture of Glenn with his head bashed in really got to him. They slipped it under the door. Spoilers. I don't think I really have to say spoilers at this point, because I already said that in the beginning. But also, the CG tiger died. Who gives a fuck? Not me. I could give 2 fucks less than anybody else in the entire world. I saw on social media people were freaking out. They were like, oh, that's the saddest thing ever. Oh my God. Oh, no, Walking Dead. Why? Who cares? It was fucking terrible CG. And second, we all knew that this was going to happen. Everybody knew that Shiva dies. It's part of the All Out War series in Walking Dead the comics. The run of the comics, the story arc called All Out War, where Rick's people fight the Saviors. Shiva dies. The kingdom is in the books. Ezekiel's in the books. Ezekiel has Shiva. It's the same story. He was a zoo worker and took care of her, and now she's best friends and protects him and all this stuff, which is bullshit, by the way. That tiger would have fucking eaten. First off, where the fuck are they getting all this meat for this tiger? Okay, because tigers have to eat a shit ton of meat every day, and so she totally would have eaten some of the kingdom people, or even Ezekiel, before we got to the point where she died last night. And it would be kind of cool if she came back as a zombie tiger. I don't think that's how it works on The Walking Dead. I haven't seen any, zombie deer or zombie dogs or anything like that. But that would be pretty cool. I know that doesn't happen in the comic books. But my theory is they're not going to fucking do that, because they spent whatever the fuck they spent. I have no idea. The budget this season is fucking ridiculous. I don't know where the fuck their money's going. It has to be going to the actors and the zombie makeup. That's because the CG, the computer generated effects, are fucking terrible. That tiger is terrible. The last night's episode, the trucks that were carrying the big guns, I guess the saviors have big guns. They're moving them from one place to another. And you see this truck speeding down the highway, and then you see Daryl on his motorcycle and Rick in a truck, or a Jeep truck with the top open. And they're hauling ass down this road, and it's completely CG. It's completely computer generated fucking cars. What was it necessary? Couldn't you have just got a stunt driver to fucking drive some fucking cars, like 3 stunt drivers to drive some fucking cars down a road? Maybe they couldn't get access to that long of a stretch of open road that they can shut down, but they're filming in Georgia. There's tons of back roads. I don't know. The budget really pisses me off. The bullet shots on the car are still getting me. Last night there was more of it. You'd see big flashes, no hole. What is it? Is it fucking made out of matchstick heads? And it's just every time the bullet hits it, it ricochets off of it and it makes a giant spark. I don't understand. Like, why would they waste their money with that? Like, why can't they CG in the people and shoot it with real guns? I mean, if you're gonna go CG on fucking everything else, I mean, nothing was worse than that fucking deer last year. That deer last year was terrible. It was the worst use of computer-generated graphics in television history, hands down. I mean, maybe I'm a little off, because I didn't the Langoliers, wasn't that a TV series with those weird fucking mouth balls? The Langoliers, look that up, folks. Anyways, I'm done with The Walking Dead. I mean, I'm not done with the show, but I'm done talking about it for now. So I'll hate watch another episode next Sunday and come back to you with next Monday's podcast and come at you there. There's a new TV show that was just announced that Amazon is coming out with. Amazon's TV service is all right. They did Man in the High Castle, I think that was theirs. And Hulu did the 11/22/63 or whatever. The JFK time travel movie. Or I guess it's not a movie, it's a mini series. But Amazon's coming out with the Lord of the Rings prequel, which I guess would be kind of cool. It depends on who it focuses on. Is it Bilbo's journeys and how he got the ring and all that stuff, and all that kind of prequel? Or are we gonna watch baby Frodo or little Frodo and little Samwise going around the Shire? I'm not a big fan of Lord of the Rings. I watched the movies. I never read the books. I watched the animated cartoons when I was a kid. It's too much of a fantasy series for me. That's one of the reasons why I didn't like. I didn't want to start watching Game of Thrones, because Lord of the Rings ruined fantasy for me. I was like, this is too ridiculous with elves and fucking wizards and little dwarves and hobbits and shit. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I'm too old for this fucking shit. And then Game of Thrones just comes in there. It's like, wham! How about those fucking dragons, bitch? And, wham! Somebody gets their fucking head cut off. Didn't expect it the entire first season of the series. Man, I don't know. I think it's going to do good. I think there's a lot of fans out there for Tolkien. He still has a giant following, man. I mean, people love those fucking movies. And people love those stories and those books and the lore behind them. I mean, those are beloved books. And I think Amazon was pretty smart in cutting that deal with the whoever's in charge of the Tolkien empire now. But let's move away from television for a moment. Let's move away from television. Let's talk about what's new in podcast. JFK premiered this past Saturday night. We talked a lot about the sexual harassment that's going on in the news today, and not today, recently. There's been a lot of people that are getting exposed for their sexual harassment. And we got into it on the podcast. There's a couple of different people that have done some ridiculous things. We talked also a little bit about the JFK files. It's not a JFK-centered podcast. It's called the JFK because it's the Jerrad and Frank cast with a K. We did get into a little bit of the JFK files, though. We talked about the Hitler, the picture of Hitler that came out last week was discovered. Apparently it was Hitler. Excuse me. Apparently it was Hitler, and it was taken in 1950s. So that means that he survived the bunker and moved to Colombia. I'm pretty sure we talked about both of those things on the Jerrad Show last week. But I was giving Frank the opportunity to take the reins of the show, and I think he did a really good job. I think he did bring a lot of good stuff to the table. He was very high energy, which was great because Saturday I was so sick, man. I really should have been in bed drinking NyQuil, but instead I stayed up late to do a podcast. And actually I stayed up pretty late working on different graphics, trying to get a YouTube channel set up, a Twitter and all that. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show. I listened to it once now since after the recording of it, and I liked it. I liked the way the show went. It was different than the Jerrad shows that we have recorded in the past because he did co-host the Jerrad Show when I restarted it and helped me out a lot getting back into the swing of things, of doing a podcast. And I'm super grateful for him stepping up and co-hosting the show and relaunching the show for me. And that's why I wanted to get him in on a show that would work around his schedule and could be recorded whenever and put out whenever. There's no set schedule for the JFK. So if he wants to come over on Wednesday and do a show after after I do this show, we could sit down and do a JFK on Wednesday. If he doesn't want to do it for another 3 weeks, we don't have to do it for another 3 weeks. I'd like to have one every month, and I think that that's possible. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes from here. If you want to tune in, you can go search it out right now. It's on Spreaker only. I also think that if you are subscribed to the Jerrad Show on iTunes, it will show up on your iTunes Jerrad Show notifications. It will be in there with the Jerrad Show. You'll just have to look at the names. Oh, man. That Dayquil's really wearing off. I'm going to take a drink of water. It's wearing off. I'm starting to choke. Where was I? The JFK is in the iTunes. Okay, so yeah, JFK is in the Jerrad Show iTunes for now. I've submitted it to iTunes as its own podcast, and I have yet to hear back from them. But it usually takes 2 or 3 days to hear back from Apple whether it was approved. There should be no reason why it's not approved. It's in the talk genre. I'm not, I've labeled it as explicit content. We're not talking about, any pornographic stuff or anything like that or gross out. It's just the language. Sometimes we use adult language because we are adults and we like to use the language of other adults that adults like to use. Speaking of adults, Gene Simmons is in the news today, pissing off a lot of people. He says that women can't have careers and kids. They can't do it. Either if they do have kids, it's, their career suffers for it. And if they don't have kids, their careers are better. Get over it. Get over your biological urges, Simmons says. It's natural to want to have kids, but sorry, you can't have it both ways. You have to commit to either career or family. It's very difficult to have both. No, I don't agree with that. Simmons, Gene Simmons. I know his name's not really Gene Simmons. It's Chaim Witz. Chaim Witz. He was born in Israel in 1949. Damn, that motherfucker is old. That's an old fucking man. Of course he would be saying some shit like that. Jesus Christ. I'm looking here. There's a Washington Post ad on. This is from today too. It's talking about Joe Biden, and I guess he's considering a presidential run in 2020. Which, boy, I hope that story of him getting all cuddly and gropey with those little kids in the pictures comes out. Has anybody seen that? I posted it to my personal Facebook today, and it's pretty disgusting how he acts around. Just Google Joe Biden photographs kids. Let's see. Joe Biden creepy kids pictures. Let's see what comes up. Creepy kids pictures? That's kind of weird. Nope, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want to search for. Joe Biden creepy kids. Compilation of Joe Biden being creepy with kids. And VP creepy Joe Biden caught groping young girls on camera. Joe Biden sexually assaults children. Top 10 creepy Joe Biden pics. Best 25 creepy Joe Biden ideas on Pinterest. Yeah, see, I'm just reading off a list now. You can tell. That's pretty disgusting. So I really hope that all comes to light. I guess people already know about it, but for some reason they're not saying much, which I think is just as fucked up. I think that's wrong. You should definitely say something if you see something weird like that. But I'm sure the parents just played it off, and the children were just taught to not taught. What am I saying? Pressured into saying. See, the problem with this is whenever I listen back to the podcast and I hear myself struggling on a word, I'm immediately just like the word, and I say it. I'm like, you idiot. Anyways, I feel like these children were being groomed by their parents. That's the word I was looking for. Groomed by their parents to be molested by this fucking creepy old man. I never really had a problem with Joe Biden before. Jesus Christ. Man, my nose is... Excuse me. I'm just... Had to blow my nose in a tissue for a second. This sickness is really still bugging me. This weekend was pretty rough. I had a family reunion to go to, and the only way that I made it through that thing was Dayquil. I I was really in pain, and I probably shouldn't have gone. And I'm fearing that I probably got some people sick because of my presence there. I know that all of the family was happy to see me, but at what a price they will pay, we'll find out. I'm sure somebody has contracted the sickness now that I've exposed them to it. I have to say that Saturday night, Sunday night was absolutely the worst that has been so far. I went to Publix, the grocery store. If you don't know what that is, I went to Publix last night to grab a couple of things, and I got to the produce aisle, and I just started having a fit. Like my eyes started watering, my nose started running, and it was all clogged up, and I couldn't breathe, and it was bad. And I have no idea where the restroom is in a grocery store, especially this grocery store. I think it was all the way up the front next to the cash registers. And there was no way that I was going all the way there to just to try to blow my nose and get everything cleared out. So I just had to rough it, and it was pretty bad. It was, by the time I got home, I was pretty miserable. So speaking of miserable, it's about time for that Dayquil to start wearing off on me. It's about 9 o'clock now, and like I said, I do these shows live every day, Monday through Friday. I am here doing a podcast. I missed one day, and that was not because I didn't do the podcast. It was 100% because I did the podcast, and for some reason, excuse me, for some reason it was corrupted. The file, it said the file was corrupted and could not be uploaded. So I don't know. I have no idea what that means. I still can't even play that file from when I recorded it. But I haven't had any problems since. And I think I'm going to have even less problems when I take this show live. That's right, you're hearing it first. This show, starting next week, is going to be live every night at 9 o'clock, Monday through Friday. We're going to do a 30-minute to 45-minute show. It might be 30 minutes. It might be 40 minutes. It might be somewhere around, sometimes it might even be a little bit shorter. It might be around 25 minutes. Heck, in the case of when I get really sick, like Friday's episode, that one was only 18 minutes, I believe. So the time can vary, but I'm going to try to start it on the dot every night, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. You can go to the Facebook page, and you will see a notification, JerradShow.com. We'll also have a notification when the show's going live, and you can just go right there and listen to the show live. Or you can go to Spreaker, Spreaker.com/user/Jerrad. I don't have a cool URL yet for that. Maybe I'll make one. We'll see. Maybe it'll be JerradSpreaker.com or something. I don't know. JerradShowSpreaker.com or something. That would be neat, right? Wouldn't it? No. It would be a waste of fucking money. What am I talking about? Follow me on Twitter at Jerrad Show. And hit up the Facebook if you haven't already. I'd appreciate that. Also, take JerradShow.com, put that right there in your bookmark so you don't miss any episode of the Jerrad Show or the JFK. Also check out the JFK, the Jerrad and Frank cast, whenever the fuck we want to do it. There's no schedule with that one. This one's hard schedule, every night, and starting next Monday we're going to do it every night, live, 9 o'clock, on the air. That's why I was kind of putting those songs in the beginning of these podcasts, because I'm trying to get to where I get comfortable with the format of a show that's live. And this one, definitely live. So I'm taking it live next week, Monday, 9 o'clock. Tune in on the JerradShow.com. To everybody else, all you other listeners, wherever you're listening to us on Stitcher and Spreaker and iTunes, YouTube, thanks a lot for listening, and have a great night.